Self. Good. Okay, we're recording this so that in case you encounter any difficulty with your signal or my signal, no problem. As we have always done, I'm going to post the recording of this presentation in the Facebook page, in the Facebook group, which I'm going to show you later. Many of you are already there. There are already around 160 of us, 150 of us in that Facebook page. And if you're not there yet, you're missing a lot because I posted there books, lots of books, free for you to download. And the PowerPoint presentations of the last 2 day seminars, including this that I'm going to post at the end of our presentation, plus the recording. Okay? So, in case you encounter difficulties with your internet, don't worry. Let's make the most of what we can, and the recording of this can be accessed there. Okay? So, fantastic. Again, good afternoon to every one of you from all over the Philippines, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, all the way down to the south, Coronadal, Davao, Cotabato, I saw earlier. Thank you for joining us. So, we have started. We are going to talk about the three most important virtues for the digital natives. And as I was saying, now more than ever, we need to make sure these young people grow up to be good and to do good. Okay? You have heard it repeated these past 2 days. Your job, our job as teachers, is not just to make sure that the young people know science, English, and math, and that they grow up to be smart. Those are good, those are important. But more importantly, we want the young people to grow up to be good, doing good and being good. I mean, what does it matter if they are geniuses in math, but they use their knowledge of math to be corrupt, to steal from the government, to steal from taxpayers' money? What does it matter if they are good in English, but they use that in order to abuse other people? It's sad, but it happens. What we are after is, okay, that they be smart, that they know how to compute, that they know how to express themselves clearly, that they know science, English, math, Filipino, social studies, history, but more importantly, that they are good people, that they have virtues, values. Values which we are seeing now are being corroded by the environment, by media, by social media, by pornography, by immoral entertainment, easily available for them in Netflix, in YouTube, in Spotify. Yes, I include music. You go to Spotify, and majority of the top 20 songs global charts are about sex or about immorality, or contains songs that contain profanities, bad words, curses, which um, affect the young people, and they start uttering these words without even realizing that they are using profanity, simply because they have been subjected to so much um, profanity, immorality. So we want the young people to grow up to be men and women of character, not just smart, not just expert in science, not just expert in English, but good. Even when it is difficult, even when no one is looking, this is character that we are very concerned about, because nowadays we seem to have some politicians who will do even what is immoral for as long as they don't get caught. And they think that is the rule of life, that they can do whatever they want for as long as they don't get caught. I mean, that's not character. We are told character is what a person does when no one is looking, when no one is watching. Even when no one is looking, that's when character, real character, comes out. And yes, even when others are not. You and I, who have been teaching for decades, I'm on my 34th year as a teacher. I saw a very good friend here, Anthony Calado. He has been teaching as long as I have been inside the classroom, and he can also tell you the when you observe the young people today, the character is different. The values are not as strong as what we had when we were younger. Research says the young people today are not as kind or courteous as when you and I were. I remember when we were younger, when we see the teacher along the corridor, we would stop with respect and greet with that kind of courtesy that our parents taught us to have, our teachers taught us to have. Today, sometimes I visit a school during the face to face situation, during the face to face setup. I would sometimes visit a school, and you can have students running around, ignoring you like you do not exist, not even stopping to greet good morning or good afternoon. That's not the kind of training we had when we were younger. We were taught courtesy. We were taught to be kind, to have respect. Today, those two are in crisis, respect and responsibility. But we're concerned more today, especially about grit, resilience, and empathy. So, throughout history, these are the three great social institutions that have worked and worked hard to shape character: home, school, religion. I see so many teachers here from Catholic schools, from Immaculate Heart in Davao, Immaculate Conception in Davao. I see our friends here from Savior. So many teachers here. I think 85% of the participants I have here are from Catholic schools. Well, you play a very important role, double role, even the school and religion. According to research, according to studies, those are the three institutions that are really very effective in shaping character. Now, let me tell you, and you know this, there is crisis in many homes. You and I now have more and more students coming inside our classroom, whether it is Zoom room or Google Classroom or real classroom, and some of them, well, a number of them come from broken families. Or not broken families, but families with irregular situation. Irregular because the father is absent. He is working in Dubai. He's working in Saudi. He is working in Hong Kong. The mother is absent. She is working in the US as a caregiver. She is working in Dubai. So we have 11 million Filipinos working abroad. Many of them are parents, parents of kids of school age. And this is a unique Philippine phenomenon. I mean, it's a unique phenomenon in a country where you have this practically 10% of the population are abroad, and many of them are parents, and many of them are parents of kids of school age. So we have absentee parents. Now, we are not speaking badly of the OFWs. I have two sisters who have been in the US as caregivers for the last 20 years. They're already American citizens, and they do it out of love for the family. And this is what most, if not all, OFWs do. They look for work abroad because they want a better life for their family. They love their family. They want them to have a better life. But you and I, as teachers, we know if the parents are not there to supervise, it's just not the same. And many times, the problems we encounter among kids inside the classroom can be traced back to the fact that the parent may be absent. One parent or another may be absent. I know a student being raised by the neighbors because both parents preferred to be able to earn in dollars and be able to send dollars back home. It's just not the same when the parents are there and when the parents are not there. And so we encounter this problem at home. Um, Home is supposed to be the primary educators of the children. The parents are the ones who are supposed to be forming the character of the young people. But we are encountering some difficulties because there are many homes that are in irregular situations. So now we need to count more on the school. Well, we also have problems in many schools, especially in the Philippines. You remember for a very long time, what was the Department of Education pushing us? Ah, go UBD, Understanding by Design. I remember for 5 years, I was going around the Philippines giving seminars to teachers on understanding by design, how to make performance tasks, how to make unit plans. Many teachers have not even fully understood it. And here comes another one, OBE. And we have not even fully understood it. Here comes another one. Uh, in other words, um, things change according to what the Department of Education wants, what the Secretary of Education prioritizes. So, when was the last time we heard the Department of Education saying, now more than ever, let us push character. Let us make sure the young people develop grit, resilience, and empathy, kindness, and caring, because these are the most urgent things, more urgent than improving math, more urgent than adding more science laboratories, more urgent than strengthening our English capabilities of the students. I think more urgent than anything is the character of the young people. We are very happy when we heard last year a lot of talk about bringing back GMRC. Fantastic, right? Good manners and right conduct. Well, here's the principle I shared with the participants the past days. Character education is not just another subject. It is not just another subject. It is what every good teacher tries to do. Mold minds, form character, not just cover the curriculum, not just finish a textbook. I repeat what I mentioned on day one. The success of you and me as teachers, the success of a teacher is to be able to say at the end of the year, I'm a good teacher. I made a difference in the lives of my students. I did a good job. My students are better human beings because I taught them science and English and math and social studies for one whole year. And through that, I formed their character. So the success of the teacher is not just to be able to say, I'm a good teacher, I finished the textbook. I'm a good teacher, we reached the last chapter. I am a good teacher, I covered the curriculum. That's good, that's essential, that's necessary, but that is not what constitutes being a good educator. A good teacher will be able to say, I made a difference in the lives of my students. And in that way, home and school really will be able to make a difference in the character of the young people and will be able to shape the character of the young people. The family is the first school of virtue, but we say parenting is harder than ever. Many of you here are parents, you have kids, you have children, and you know this. It's harder than ever to raise a kid because society has changed, families have changed. And yes, the barkada, the peer group has changed. Mindsets have changed. Attitudes of young people have changed. This is a totally different generation of young people. We are training, we are teaching, we are raising. It's harder than ever. And so we need to have a even a change of
Nakamute
mindset.
ako.
Let me see. Let's mute. Okay. Okay. So, a societal environment that does not encourage good character means that Parents and you and I, teachers, have to be more vigilant and more intentional than in past generations in forming character. So, an idea I gave yesterday and 2 days ago: stop teaching subject, dear teachers, and start teaching children. Stop teaching subjects and start teaching children. More than ever, let me see, please mute your microphone. Okay. Uh, I remember something because we see here names that look weird. Some schools have requested me to provide them with attendance, no, of the participants. And Zoom comes out with a report of attendance based on the names that appear in your profile, the profile name. So, can we request everyone to please rename your profile name from Oppo A12 to your real name? You can click on the three dots above your frame and then rename profile so that when I submit the reports to the different schools, they will know exactly who is Oppo and who is 101 HPYZ5R and C8. um, let's make it easier for the schools that ask for the attendance to be able to keep track of teachers who were present in our sessions. How I wish I could do it for them, but with 240 participants to 250, even I think 300 on Thursday, um, it's almost impossible for us to be able to do it. So we just provide them with a Zoom report, the one that's generated automatically by Zoom. Okay, so we have to go against fad, trends, and culture. Okay? To develop good character today, we need to go against the prevailing culture. What is the prevailing culture? You go to music, you go to MTVs, you go to videos, you go to Netflix, you go to Spotify, and you're going to be swamped with messages about sex and violence. A lot of sex in movies, a lot of violence in video games, a lot of softness in the environment. That's the culture, and we have to go against it. We have to go counter-cultural. So the title, as I said, is Three Essential Virtues for the Digital Generation. I know I spent a lot of time in the past 2 days talking about the digital generation, but I also know we have many participants today who are first time to join us. In fact, as a way of welcoming them in the chat box, those who are first time to attend this week's seminars, can you please type one, meaning to say this is your first session. And if you've been here for 2 days already, type two. If you've been here for all the days, three. Fantastic. Great. So we see a lot of ones. Welcome for the first time. And then we see also sprinkling of threes. Thank you for sticking it up, sticking it out with us the past 3 days. Fantastic. Okay, great. That gives us an idea of the audience. No, a big group of ones, sprinkling of twos, and then also a big number. They have been with us from day one. Thank you. Thank you. So, for the sake especially of those who are attending for the first time, we need to understand the digital generation. We need to understand the mindset of these young people who are inside your Zoom room, Google Classroom, Microsoft room. Let's understand them. They are what we call the digital natives. Digital because they don't know a world without cell phone. They don't know a world without computer. You are giving them the assignment, they are already thinking, I'm going to Google that later. I'm going to search that in the internet. Their life revolves around technology. Some of them even go to bed with the earphones on. And as soon as they wake up, They turn on also the radio. They wake up to their music. They wake up to their Spotify. um, they are technocentric. That's how researchers describe them, technocentric. But here's another description of the generation of students you have. They are also described as the sleep deprived generation. And some of you can relate because you too are sleep deprived. We are already deprived of sleep because when I was younger, there were only 3 television stations. We slept at 10 because there's nothing more to watch on TV. But not your students today, not the digital natives. They can wake up at 2 a.m. and there are still the more than 1 billion videos in YouTube to choose from. There's Netflix that's 24 hours with hundreds of TV series, TV shows, movies to choose from the classics to the latest to the there are just so many reasons to stay up late. To stay up late. And not to mention, of course, uh, social media that is so addicting for the young people. So we are dealing now with a generation of young people that is what we call digital natives, technocentric, sleep deprived, addicted to technology. This is the most natural thing now for kids to be addicted to technology. I mean, that their life revolves around technology. Remove technology and they become very, very unhappy, if not angry. This is now the worst punishment you can give a kid today, to confiscate the cell phone, to confiscate the gadget, or to turn off the Wi-Fi. There is nothing more punishing for many young people than that. So we are dealing with a selfie addiction. And then many of us cannot even understand some of the things the young people do today. They go live in FB, waiting for people to uh, view them, to like, to drop comments, to even say things like, ate, pa-shout out naman. Kuya, pa-shout out naman. I mean, what does it bring about? Getting these shout outs. But that is their life. That's how they get the thrill of being connected, being I don't know. It's like you have some people today who equate happiness with the number of likes, the number of comments, the number of shares. If they get all these likes and comments and reactions, they're very happy. If they don't get it, and they don't get it right away, they feel something is wrong, something is bad, something is not going right. So we have now young people who may be equating worth of the person to the number of followers, to the number of likes. I studied TikTok, and it's amazing how the algorithm of TikTok is designed to maximize followers and likes and fans. No wonder you have young people today who can be spending 1 hour for that 15-second video that he or she is going to upload. And you can have a kid today who can spend 3 hours in costume play for a 15-second video that they're going to upload in TikTok, or that they're going to post in Facebook, or that they're going to share in Twitter, or that they're going to put in Instagram. In fact, many young people today prefer Insta and IG, Instagram and Twitter rather, and TikTok. Why? Because their parents are in Facebook. So, choice of young people today, preference is Instagram, mostly pictures. TikTok, the older people will not even, what is that? I mean, it's dancing, it's punchline in 15 seconds. So that is that has developed a certain different mindset and lifestyle and outlook among the young people. Here's something we cannot even sometimes appreciate. You have a young person or somebody posting in Facebook, crowdsourcing. Anybody knows where I can buy a purple iPhone? Anybody knows where I can get this latest music of so and so? Or worse, posts like, "Hey guys, I'm in Tagaytay. Any recommendation for a restaurant for me to take lunch?" And we older people look at it and say, Why do you need to bother the whole world? Go take your lunch wherever you want. Do you really need to let the world know that you are looking for a restaurant?" But that's available for them. They have the whole world available to give them a recommendation, a suggestion, maybe even a life hack, or maybe a suggestion. Okay, I think you and I would have used it when we were younger if it was available. "Hey guys, I need achwete for my adobo. Anyone has spare malunggay for my munggo ginisa that I'm cooking?" I think we would have done the same. We would have done the same if um, it was available for us. Okay, pin the speaker. I'm pinned actually. Yeah. So okay, and then this one, IMO. The young people tend
You're
to.
not pinned.
I'm not pinned. Uh,
Nope.
okay, remove pin and then pin and then spotlight for everyone. Okay, remove all pinned videos. Okay,
Okay.
can you see my screen and me in the tiny side? Okay, very
Yes.
nice. The young people today have this tendency to let the world know their opinion. In my opinion, they watch a movie and they feel like suddenly they're experts in movie criticism. They they let the world know they like this movie, they don't like this movie, they like the television show, they didn't like, and some of us older people look at it and say, "How presumptuous." I mean, do you really expect everyone to listen to you? I mean, why do you value your opinion so much? But that is it. That is the kind of world that the young people today are living in. They are being encouraged by the environment to let the world know their thought. You go to Facebook, and what do you see for the first thing there? "Man, what's on your mind?" Immediately Facebook is asking you, what's on your mind? Share it with the world. Let the world know. How do you feel? Feeling blessed, feeling happy, feeling sad, feeling angry, feeling upset. That's the kind of environment, world that the young people are living in today. They just have to share their feelings. And many of us feel very uneasy when you have a young person here sharing his frustration with the family, with his mom, with his dad, his her anger at her sister for, and then we say, Where did intimacy go?" I mean, weren't these things meant to be, not shared with the world, but they are intimate things you are not even supposed to bring out of the house because, but the world has manipulated the mindsets of the young people to, no, share your feelings with everyone. Let the world know how you feel, what's your opinion. So, and then here's another description of the digital natives. They have that craving for constant connection, or the other way around, the constant craving for connection. That's why I know many schools, you do not allow cell phone inside the classroom, right? Or even in the Zoom room, while you are doing your class, you expect them to focus on what you are discussing. But mind you, many young people today can text without even looking at the screen. They can even be surfing like as if looking at you. directly to you, but really, they are tinkering with their cell phone, with their other hand, and without even looking at it. They are that talented and skilled in the use of technology. And if they are not connected, then they feel like they're missing out. You know, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is very strong among many people. And today, even you and I, older people who are not digital natives, can also have that FOMO, that fear of missing out. Think about how you felt when one day you realized you left your cell phone at home and you're already in the car, you're already in the jeepney, you're already in the public transport. You feel like you are incomplete. You feel like something is missing and your mind is there. Who texted? Who is calling? Who might actually be? Uh, so, um, and these things are bringing about a big problem in many places. In the United States, for example, here's the statistics: 11 teenagers are killed every day because of texting while driving or driving while texting. And then you will now hear more and more young people complaining about headaches, being dizzy, having problems with the eyesight, having problems with the focus and attention. You know, the textile trauma is when the person's head is bowed down like that, looking at the screen the whole day. Wow, it's like having a 60-pound weight on your neck. Okay, 60 pounds of pressure. No wonder you will continue hearing more and more of these young people complaining about feeling sluggish, heavy, with a pain in the neck, with a pain in the back, and then of course with that unique sickness in the hand. So we expect all this to continue on with this kind of lifestyle that they live that is so screen centered, centered on the screen. No? Dizziness, neck pain, stress, tiredness, headache, and some of them cannot even accept or will not even accept that, yeah, of course, you're going to be dizzy and feeling tired because you were in front of the computer game for 5 hours. Don't you realize it? I mean, being in an activity, the same activity for 5 hours, that is going to bring about a certain feeling of stress, feeling of tiredness, if not headache, or even neck pain, or even dizziness. So, somebody pointed out about the ICYMI, the in case you miss it. No? The now newspapers online will have to put that ICYMI in case you miss it. This happened. This breaking news was announced earlier. In case that is according to the mindset of I cannot miss out. I have to be updated. I have to be constantly connected. And then the insatiable need to be noticed, to be validated, to be entertained. And mind you, I have met some teenagers who get affected, very, very deeply affected because of the number of likes or reactions that they get in their post. If very few, they get affected. If a lot, they get very excited. There is a certain correlation already between these likes and comments and shares, and it's like that has become their source of validation. Now, um, we mentioned this 2 days ago. A kid today can be spending the whole day in front of the screen, if not the cell phone screen, the tablet, the television screen. Um, Gone are the days when I was younger, if there are no classes, we would go out and climb trees and go out with friends and play in the streets. Today, no classes. The first thing that comes to mind is I can go back to my legends. I can go back to my games. I can go back to my video games. That brings about what we call the greatly decreased physical activity that will bring about increased waistlines. We have more and more cases of overweight kids, or um, the couch potatoes that we used to just mention before, phantom limb syndrome. Even you and I sometimes experience this. We felt like our cell phone vibrated. How can you feel it? Your phone is in your bag, not is in your pocket, not in your pocket, not in your jacket, and yet we somehow feel like there is a vibration of the cell phone. That's part of the phantom limb syndrome, no? That is brought about by this kind of mindset. And then here's another thing very unique about the young people today. They don't seem to live for the moment, they live for the foment. That's why when you watch them watching a concert, they are taking a video. And you ask, well, why are you taking a video? Are you going to watch it later? No, they get a bigger kick out of being able to post it and let the whole world know that they were in the concert of Katy Perry, that they were in the concert of Ed Sheeran, and they were very close, as they can attest from the video that they were able to take in the concert. So that's not a moment to enjoy. It's a moment for the phone. It's a moment for the phone. And that has become like the instant reaction when there is something um, beautiful. They take a picture. Food that is served, that is spectacularly arranged. That's a moment for the phone. You have to post it before you eat it. You have to take a picture of it and let the world know that this is your lunch. You are in Starbucks. This is your snacks now. This is what you're eating now. Foment. The Okay, now, yesterday we talked about bullying, and why are there young people posting things in the internet, things that they will never say to the person face to face. The way they bash, the way they comment, the way they sometimes put down people and condemn acts of some people caught on video. Ah, because there is what the researchers call the anonymity of the screen that makes them very they are very um, how do you call that, excited, no? the they don't feel any guilt about posting that because my comment is just one of the 2000 that's there. So, and that gives them the confidence of posting whatever they want there. So one of the things we need to teach these young people is the thinking before posting or before clicking. But one thing they need to realize is really all the digital footprints they leave behind, might as well say goodbye to privacy. I mean, you go to one website checking on flights available to Iloilo. Go to your Facebook, suddenly you have advertisements there on hotels available in Iloilo. The internet is keeping track of what you're doing, your activities, all this algorithm that is taking into account every activity we do online. That's goodbye to privacy. And I know some teachers who fall into this trap. I just do social media when at the end of the day. And yeah, I know a teacher who would go to bed and start scrolling because that's the only time he would be opening his Facebook, but then scrolling and scrolling, liking here, commenting there, being impressed by one photo or another, and then refreshing. Uy, there are new posts, and before you know it, he or she has spent an hour or two already in that bottomless, pointless, useless, endless, mindless scrolling. So all these that are typical of the digital natives, the digital generation, are contributing to a crisis in character because the brain has been rewired for many young people. There's a book that I want to encourage you to get hold of, The Rewired Brain. it talks about really how the brain of the young people today, given this kind of lifestyle, digital lifestyle, availability of technology, has already been rewired. Patience is a problem, empathy becomes a problem, focusing, concentrating become a problem. Their attention span is shorter than ever. It's an exaggeration, I think, but one research says, I mean, one speaker said, the attention span of a kid today is 1 second less than that of a goldfish. It's absurd. Comprehension, memory. I know many young people who hate memorization. Sir, why do we need to memorize this? In 0.07 seconds, I can get this in Google. Why do we need to memorize the preamble of the Constitution of the Philippines? I can easily access it in the internet. Why do we need to memorize the capitals of the countries, of the capital cities? It's all there in the internet. So memorization has become like what for? And I know young people, many young people who become um, so allergic to memorization work. And this is a problem for people like me who teach Latin, a language, to people. You cannot escape memorization in studying any language. So the brain is being fed fast food. There's what we call the substitution in the brain. Now they have to think in headlines. There's a need for instant response. If they text somebody and the guy or the person does not reply right away, they start thinking, oh, I'm sin zone, I'm hurt, I'm offended, he's ignoring my text, she's ignoring my. No, the guy is just busy. The guy just happens to have left his phone somewhere. It's not because he is something, he has something against you. So this need for instant response, yesterday, that's what we were talking about, strategies to, or 2 days ago, strategies to develop delayed gratification, the opposite of instant gratification. We've even lost the art of handwriting in many cases. Many young people don't know how to write properly. And then we are now confronted with these problems. That's why all these will have to be addressed by grit, resilience, empathy, as you're going to see in a while, and many more. We will continue having to encounter this. But let me just share with you right away the most important thing we need to do regarding technology. We need what we call a certain digital detoxification. All of us, including you and me, because this is the lifestyle that is being forced upon us by the environment, by technology. We need to learn digital detoxification, and we need to teach young people digital detoxification. Even if you say, me, I spend only 10 minutes a day in Facebook. Okay, but you put that together in 1 year, you would have spent 60 hours. That's a lot of time that could have been spent in more productive activities, perhaps. So here's number one, digital detoxification strategy. Turn off notification. Facebook should not be the one dictating on you. That's what happens, right? Hey, somebody liked your picture. Come back. Come back. That's notification of Facebook. Hey, somebody shared your picture, and you wonder, oh, which picture was that? You want to get back. It's like Facebook is dictating on you, manipulating you to come back. Turn it off. It will not hurt, and life will be very peaceful without anyone dictating on you. Now you go back to Instagram. Somebody um, uh, wants to connect with you. Somebody posted a picture. Somebody, here's number two. Don't you notice it sometimes when you see some posts of specific people, um, because it's political, it goes against your principles, it goes against your beliefs. You get upset, you get irritated, and you even feel unhappy. Well, digital detoxification means delete delete those toxic people, pages, or apps that give you bad vibes, and you will see life is better. You will not have to contend with having to feel upset, irritated, even angry when you see those posts from specific people, from specific pages. In fact, Facebook now provides you with many options. You can delete, you can hide, you can mute for an hour, for a day, for until you put it back on, to take a break, to unfollow, to unfriend, so that his posts, her political posts, will not appear on your timeline, on your wall, and you spare yourself of irritations, feelings of. Here's number three. The airplane mode is not just for the airplane. It's not just for riding airplanes. It is also for family time, bonding time. And I know many good families that are adopting house rules like that. In the dining table, no gadgets. In the dining table, no texting, no answering of phones. Better yet, to put it on silent mode or even in airplane mode because it's family time. Airplane mode is not just for the airplane, it's also for family time, for prayer time, for me time, for rest time, or for, in other words, there are many opportunities for us to disconnect, and it will not kill. It will not kill us. Emergencies, they will find other ways. If they see that you're not answering your phone, they might call up the landline. They might call up someone to ask you if it's really urgent. Otherwise, they will say, maybe he's busy. I'll call back later. So, airplane mode is not just for the airplane. And gadgets like you, or the other way around, you, like your gadgets, you actually need rest. And it's good for us to every now and then, for a day or so, for a few hours or so, or even just for a minute, a few minutes a day or so, we make our gadgets rest. We can actually even turn it off. I mean, as a habit, to turn it off from this time to this time or on this day, so that we can focus on other important things that are there. Because anyway, gadgets also need to rest like us. And then to acquire a certain laser focus habit when we go to the internet, sometimes we are like that. I need to get the phone number of this company. Laser focus, we go to the internet. As soon as we get the number, we get out of the internet. Otherwise, if there is no laser focus, you can have someone, and I know people who do that. They go to the internet to get a phone number, but they think I might as well check nba.com first. What was the result of the game last night? Oh, I might as well just take a little peek at my Facebook or my Instagram or my Twitter. What are the latest things and what is the headline? And before you know it, with that idea of just getting one phone number, you can end up with 1 hour of surfing. Digital detoxification is important. Will connecting at this moment really help me achieve my goal? So a question like that can help us, make better use of technology. Because what I'm noticing among young people today is it's technology that is controlling them. And then to deepen connection, because real um, joys in life do not happen online. Real connection with the family, with friends, with people, because best things in life happen in real life, not online. And that too is part of embracing downtime. So I have 5 minutes to introduce the first virtue, greet, and then just after 5 minutes, we'll have a bit of a break just with a few videos for us to take a little bit of a breather. Grit. Angela Duckworth suddenly became a celebrity thanks to her book about grit, its passion, its perseverance for very long term goals. And yes, it is one of the things that many young people today are failing in, to persevere, to stick to a commitment. You know, worldwide vocations, to the priesthood, to the seminaries, to the religious vocations are going down. Worldwide, many marriages are not succeeding. Worldwide, there are more and more people who choose to cohabitate, live in, and not enter into the sacrament of marriage. Why? Because this commitment, this perseverance, he's very much affected by the new mindset, the new outlooks brought about by digital lifestyle. That's why grit is more important than ever. If we are to help these young people still be able to commit themselves to um, an ideal, an ambition, an objective, that they don't just give up easily. um, they have a little misunderstanding with the wife. Okay, then let's call it quits. I mean, where is perseverance there? Where is passion there? Where is grit there? That's why it's very important that we help these young people understand, appreciate, and acquire, develop grit. Okay, before I go to characteristics, maybe now is the best time to do a bit of a break, as some of you may need to go to the washroom, to get water, to or just to slow down and breathe a bit. I'll just show, I think, 3 or 4 short videos, and then we'll continue on with grit after this series of videos.
There's a concept in the sales world called kiss versus kill, keeping it short and simple versus keeping it long and lengthy. Amateur salesmen would kill the sale by going on and on about unimportant details. A good salesman, on the other hand, would hit all of the important points in the shortest time possible and close the deal. Tip number 1 is to be efficient with your speaking. Conversation is all about quality. Try to remove all types of filler words like like, I guess, well, you know. These words bring no value to the conversation and they literally mean nothing. Listen to the following paragraph. What did you do this winter? Well, I had an okay time this break. I went snowboarding for the first time with some of my friends and well, it was actually a lot harder than it looked. That's about it. I guess I had fun. Haha. Now compare it to this. What did you do this winter? Me and my friends went snowboarding. It was actually my first time and it was a lot harder than it looked. Notice how the second version is much shorter, but the information being conveyed is the exact same. However, it sounds more confident and even more sophisticated. Don't be afraid to take pauses instead of relying on filler words as a crutch. Pauses can be powerful and can emphasize different parts of the message. Here's an example of pauses in action with the same sentence that we mentioned before. Me and some friends went snowboarding. It was actually my first time, but it was a lot harder than it looked. Tip number 2 is to use pauses to emphasize different parts of the message and to deliver more powerful messages. The following skill is probably the single most important skill in terms of overall conversation ability. If you can master this one skill, you'll be able to have endless conversation with just about anybody. Tip number 3 is conversational threading. Within every sentence, there are different topics that you can branch off into. Let's take a look at the following sentence. I live in New York City, but I've always wanted to move to the suburbs. It's because I love nature and I hate being around too many people. There are 4 different topics that you can branch off from here. You can talk about that time you wanted to visit New York City. You can talk about how you feel living in the suburbs. You can talk about your relationship with nature, and you can also talk about how you're an introvert and how you can relate with their hate of being around too many people. When a conversation dies, it's usually because there are no other topics to talk about that are interesting. So when given the opportunity to branch off into different topics, choose one that you're interested in talking about. Also keep in mind that you want to be giving the other person opportunities to talk about multiple topics as well. If you don't give them topics to branch off to, the conversation will eventually reach a dead end. Now this skill comes with practice. The more you try to look for topics to bounce off of, the more you will notice them.
Okay, I think that's a good enough break for all of us. We continue on from where we left off. We are now in grit. Here are 5 characteristics of grit. And as we look at these 5 characteristics, we think of how can we foster in our class, whether face-to-face classroom or Zoom classroom or online classroom, these characteristics of grit. Courage, not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Um, this is very important considering that many what we notice is we have more and more parents today who are trying so hard to protect their kids from difficulties in life. The idea that when I was growing up, I encountered these problems. I have to make sure my kids do not have to contend with those problems. So you can actually have more parents now who are trying to safeguard their kids from these difficulties. And that's why in my 34 years inside the classroom, I notice more and more young people who are not able to face difficulties, trials, problems, a little difficulty that they encounter and they get discouraged, they get disappointed, they get depressed. I mean, this is something that we have to be very much on the lookout for because we have more and more young people like this who are not used to. the difficulties of life, they don't develop courage, which is one characteristics of grit. Conscientiousness, being thorough, careful, or vigilant. Sometimes nowadays we refer to this as mindfulness. So that's why you can have a kid who will be saying things that he doesn't realize is actually offensive to other people, or is actually inappropriate, or is actually unacceptable. There's a little problem with mindfulness of conscientiousness. Perseverance is really almost interchangeable, in fact, with grit. When a person has grit, he is persevering. He can get through a task even if there are many difficulties that he will have to face up with, or that he will have to encounter along the way, and that there will be bumps along the way. But persevering, starting and continuing steadfastly on the path towards any goal that you set, especially if it is a long term goal. Resilience is also one of the characteristics of grit, but we are going to cover that as a separate virtue by itself. The art of bouncing back, the art of being able to recover from a failure. That's why it's important that we teach young people how to face failures. Failures are not tragic. They may even be sometimes the best lessons for these young people. And then passion, being able to develop in them a deep sense of purpose that will make them want to achieve a goal no matter how difficult it may be, no matter how many challenges there may be in their um, journey towards that goal. Here are 7 ways to develop grit in kids today. Number one is igniting their passion. This is the reason why in all the schools I taught in CRC College before, when it was not University of Asia and the Pacific yet. I started a school in Iloilo City called Paref Westbridge School. I was the first director there. I spent 15 years in my alma mater, Southridge, where I served as principal of intermediate school and vice principal of high school. And then I went to Bannister Academy. I went to Northfield School. In all the schools I taught in, I made sure I started student organizations, clubs, because I saw very clearly it's one of the best ways to ignite their passion, to channel their energies, whether it is a journalism club or mountaineering club, mountain hiking club, or leadership club. In all the schools, in fact, that I got involved in, I got involved in student council work because it's one of the best ways, if for me, not even, I mean, for me, it's the best, in fact, way of really fostering, igniting that passion in the young people, the passion to serve, the passion to organize things that will make a difference in society, that will make an impact. So make sure, even in this pandemic, your schools continue to find ways to keep the student organizations alive. The online classes, that's not an excuse for schools to slow down on student activities, on student organizations, on student leadership, on student service. I mean, there are so many fantastic examples I've been seeing in the internet, online.
Air containers. Hmm?
Let me see, huh?
Air
Mute,
containers.
please mute your microphone. Okay. Um, Fantastic ideas I'm seeing in Facebook, in Twitter, in Instagram, of student initiatives to start their community pantries, for example. I know a group of students in Southridge who did a fundraising to be able to help the jeepney drivers who were left jobless with no income. And so the pandemic is not an excuse for us to slow down in our student service, community service, student outreach activities. Whenever I visit a school and then I talk about students, you have to be at the forefront of service. And I tell them, if your school only has one outreach activity a year during Christmas pa, shame on you. I tell the students, shame on you, because with all the gifts that God has given you, you are capable of doing an outreach activity even every month if you really want to. What is missing is the passion to serve, the passion to make a difference, that desire to really be able to help in whatever way you can. So that's a wonderful way of igniting the passion of the students, presenting to them many opportunities of being able to make a difference in the lives of other people, making a difference in the community. I'm always proud to highlight to people one student organization that I started in the University of Asia in the Pacific. It's called Catalyst of UANP. And the students are made to understand you can make a difference in the world now as students, not later as professionals, even more later when you're professionals, but even now as students, you have to find ways of being able to make an impact and to change society, to bring about change, positive change in the world. And they get very excited. And these students in the University of Asia and the Pacific ended up organizing conferences on chastity with 15,000 participants in World Trade Center, bringing a speaker on purity, modesty, chastity, and making him speak in PICC, and 8,000 students listening. Another speaker, 7,500 in SMX, and all done by students themselves. We have to open the minds of the young people to the possibilities that they can do to make a difference, igniting their passion to the point that they will do this for the rest of their life. Now, while I mentioned University of Asia and the Pacific, I also do not exempt high school students and even grade school students capable of doing the meaningful activities that can have impact in the lives of many people. I proudly tell people I was the one who started the grade school student council in Southridge. Because why wait until high school before they get involved in leadership activities? As grade schoolers, they can come up with ideas and contribution, ignite their passion. We have to teach them self-control, ask them to pay attention to how their emotions feel. Have them practice breathing slowly during a stressful situation. And mind you, this is a very important thing we need to teach them now when this online studying, this online setup can be very frustrating, can be very exhausting, can be very tiring, and really can get them exasperated, as some of you already experienced it perhaps. We need to teach them breathing exercise that will make them calm down, like what they do in theater before the curtain goes up. They teach the actors and actresses the breathing exercise to help them calm down. I'm sure you will find that available easily in YouTube, in Google, breathing exercise to help ease feelings, emotions, and let them practice slow breathing every day so they're ready for stress. That too is part of being physically ready for grit. Warn them to expect setbacks, that as sure as the sun will rise, there will be challenges, problems, difficulties. Explain that setbacks are natural, but mostly temporary. Pick one setback that they're currently dealing with and brainstorm solutions. Especially now in online setup, this may be one of the most important things teachers should do, class advisors should be able to do with the students, to check on them that they are okay, that they are coping. Of course, we have to cope. We say this is the new normal. Okay, it's very abnormal, but okay, let's. This is for now the new normal. But that doesn't mean that we have to assume that everything is a okay. I tell you, um, 2 weeks after the school year started, school year 2020 2021, when we started the school year with online classes, 2 weeks after the school year started, I have a friend who's teaching all boys school in an all boys school. And he talked about a student who is getting depressed, a student who who broke down and started crying because of the situation. He couldn't pinpoint what is wrong. He just is so frustrated about so many things that he didn't know. And that's only 2 weeks into the school year. 2 weeks into the school year. Sure, there was a certain plateau where somehow students managed to adjust a bit, but still, every so often, teachers should ask, how are things with you? Let's discuss your state, uh, your condition right now. What are the challenges? What are the difficulties? How do you feel about the whole thing? And every now and then, now we hear about academic break for 1 week. No online asynchronous or synchronous. No, nothing to do with the internet for mental health. A mental health break. Nice, but there's no substitute to actually getting it out of them and really telling them, talk about how you feel, talk about what you are going through, and then let's find ways of being able to address whatever setbacks you have, whatever problems, challenges you are confronted with. Narrow down options to top 3 actionable ideas. Tell them how you yourself overcame an obstacle or setback in your life. And then make them realize that this is a slice of life. This, for the rest of your life, is how things are going to be. There will be challenges, there will always be setbacks. Make a plan together. This outline is especially more for parents, but we can apply this in classroom settings. Ask your student, your child, to visualize the goal they want to achieve and write it down to pass the school year, to get good grades, to be able to get that award. Okay, break down. Let me see, I'll have to mute. Break down the goal into bite sized chunks that are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, which is fantastic. That's why I like student organizations, because this is precisely how we come up with project proposals. We have to come up with projects that with objectives that are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, etc. So, student leadership, student activities, project management, they are fantastic ways of preparing the young people not just to pass the school year, not just to pass a subject, but to be ready for real life. I know some students who learned the more important things in their involvement in the student council than the class inside in one subject or another. Help them create milestones to track progress and post a plan where your kids, your students will see it every day. Complement effort. Make them realize that many times it's the effort that counts. There will be difficulties, especially now that we are in this um, online setup. Don't expect exactly the same results as what we used to have when we were in the face to face class. This is not just the same. This is just not the same. So, effort matters, effort counts, and they will see it because you complement effort expended on activity, whether successful or not. When success occur, compliment them on a job well done, pointing out the effort that helped them achieve. And when success doesn't come, despite the effort, ask them why and have them write down lessons learned. One of the strategies I shared these past 2 days is journal writing, reflection writing. This too is very much part of it. We can develop grit in them if we make them reflect on like this successes, failures. Tell them to stick to what is important, to what really is important. Consistently instill that lying, cheating, and stealing is wrong. Encourage them to develop strong principles by referring to your cultural or religious texts and tell them about a moral or ethical challenge that you yourself encountered and how you handled it. In the first 2 days of the sessions of the seminars, we emphasized modeling. Teachers will have to role model respect, kindness, self control, professionalism, punctuality. Then the same thing happens here in grit. We have to role model it in the sense of that we ourselves, when we encountered difficulties, when we encountered challenges, we tried to have that grit and we show it to them. We share those ideas with them that will give them ideas on, okay, that is grit. Anthony Calado made mention here of a grade school club that we started in Southridge called Soul Student Organization Upholding Life. Grade 7 kids organizing a pro-life conference. How cool is that? And that was that successful. The one of the first officers there is now a seminarian in the United States. He's preparing himself to be a priest, Dandan Makalinaw. So it works. It works. Um, Opening their minds, their horizon to all the possibilities of the things that they can commit themselves to with passion. They all contribute to developing grit in the students. Show how to take care of body and mind. Well, body is mentioned here. Remember, I mentioned to you, researchers describe these young people today as a generation that is sleep deprived generation. Teachers, please do not stop talking to your students online or face to face about the importance of sleep, about the importance of getting enough sleep, because this is uh, a pandemic among young people. They think sleep is only for the weak. I mean, you see memes like that being passed around in social media. Sleep is only for the weak. No, sleep is for every human being, and it's important that they get enough sleep. They get the right rest because they don't realize it. The reason why they are sluggish, the reason why they cannot focus, cannot concentrate, cannot put their mind on the work they're doing is because they lack sleep. They have been sleep deprived. So we have to make sure we emphasize this, that they take care of their body and their mind. Encourage any physical activity, including sports, chores, and exercise. Ensure that they get enough sleep and make sure their lunches and snacks have plenty of protein, complex carbohydrates, and vegetables. Especially now that they are most of the time at home, then they have access to all the unhealthy foods that's there, but they also have a choice. Let's go to resilience, which is the power to be able to recover readily from adversity or challenge. It's the art of bouncing back, the ability to bounce back, being able to adapt to hardships and setbacks in life. Well, we had this 6 hours of sessions or 4 hours of sessions with Dr. Michelle Borba on thrivers, why kids succeed or are able to cope, thrive even during troubled times. We are living in troubled times right now, and this is more important than ever that the young people are able to get up from this test. Let me see. Okay.
May
Okay.
nag-aano nga, nag-aano.
Let's mute. some people there. Resilience, normal development under difficult conditions, even under difficult conditions. It's defined as an outcome, emotional well being against the odds, but it's also a process by which they are able to uh, plow through tumultuous times of their life. So it's two ways: qualities which cushion a vulnerable child from the worst effects of adversity in whatever form it takes, and which may help a child or young person to cope, survive, and even thrive in the face of great hurt and disadvantage. We need to teach the young people to keep calm and then to be resilient and then to get on with life in spite of the difficulties. Research findings about resilience, they discovered that the resilient children are better equipped to resist stress and adversity, cope with change and uncertainty, and to recover faster and more completely from traumatic events or episodes. Now, I know some people are trying to copy as much as they can, screenshotting. No need, because as I have done in the first two sessions, this PowerPoint presentation can be downloaded from the Facebook page. The link is going to be there. Now, I've had some participants emailing me saying they don't have Facebook page. If you don't have, then email me so that I can directly send you the link to the slideshare.net where you can download the PowerPoint presentation and the YouTube link where you can watch the recording. Okay. And yes, I don't mind if you use the the May 25 is not yet in Facebook, only May 24. I disagree because I checked it just this morning. The slide presentation on kind and caring is already there. In fact, I saw 140. So it already, and some already downloaded it. I went to the slideshare.net and it says there 27 already have downloaded. And I'm telling you, I don't mind if you use the same slides to echo to your teachers. I don't even mind if you want to use the same jokes if you want. Uh, we need to get the message to the teachers that we have to form character, we have to mold minds. Let's stop teaching subjects and start teaching children. So that's why I'm freely sharing all these materials to you, because this is more urgent than anything for me. I sometimes visit some schools and I ask the principal, administrator, what's your trust in your school? And they will tell me, this year we want to add one more laboratory. Chemistry and biology laboratories will be two. This year we're going to intensify our English program. This year we're going to add more math periods. Nice. I hardly heard an administrator telling me, this year, sir, this year, character is going to be our top priority. Character is what we are going to emphasize more than ever. We're going to train our teachers on how to form the character of our students. I hardly hear of that. But this is the point of this seminar. I need you to commit yourselves to, yeah, let's make character formation the top priority now more than ever. As we prepare for the new school year, that our school is going to be a school of character. And research shows, concentrate on character, academic achievement follows. Academic achievement follows because your students are going to have resilience and grit, and they're going to uh, have empathy. The school is going to be kind and caring, and no one is afraid to go, and they are going to be able to concentrate. So it's true. The research is correct in saying that if you prioritize character formation, academic achievement will necessarily follow. But prioritize academics, character is not necessarily going to follow. I know a school where the valedictorian candidates are fighting tooth and nail, and and some of them will start resorting to cheating. The parents will start doing the assignment for the kid. And the kid will put his name there even if he knows he is not the one who did that. Cheating, lying. Uh, you see, academics will not necessarily, strong academics will not necessarily lead to character formation. But yes, character formation will necessarily lead to academic achievement. So, three key protective factors, according to research, that will enable the student to grow up with resilience. Number one, at least one secure attachment relationship. That's why you have cases of um, persons who come from broken families, but because of that one teacher, that one coach, that one friend that pushed him, motivated him, he still comes out to be resilient, successful because of that one secure attachment relationship. It can be you, it can be the teacher that this person is looking for to succeed in life. Access to wider support, such as extended family and friends, and positive nursery, school, and community experiences. That's why yesterday we talked about creating a kind and caring classroom because it matters a lot for this kid to develop resilience, positive experience in that nursery, in that school, in that classroom, in that community. Okay, let's build resilience then because life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient. That's how it is. And as we see, this pandemic has taught us we've got to thrive, we've got to heal as one, we've got to recover as one, we've got to work together to be able to survive, uh, be able to make the most of this situation we find ourselves in. Especially so because in the past 3 days, we've been talking about all these crises that we see in the world today. We see this problem in mindset, in attitude, in outlook of many young people. We have not even really tackled very clearly, privileged mindset, narcissism, and yet they are there. They are there. Many times, these are words that we use to describe the millennials, the Gen Zs, but the good news is it's not too late, especially because we, the teachers, are entrusted with the young people, and we can still make sure that they grow up with resilience, with grit, with empathy. 5 ways to build resilience inside the classroom. Number one, promote self reflection through literary essays or small group discussions. And this can be done even on online setup. Now, we're back to reflection. I mentioned it yesterday, I mentioned it 2 days ago, I mentioned it earlier. Anything we do to make the students reflect helps them develop character. For example, this fantastic website, heroicimagination.org, will contain many of those materials that will make them reflect. Now, take note, the step number one, sorry, number one here is promote self-reflection through literary essays or small group discussions, literary essays that you will make them read, materials that you will give to them, and to do small group discussions. Because number two is that they themselves will produce. Okay, so for example, questions like this should come out in your discussions with the students. Who was the hero in this story? What challenge or dilemma did the hero overcome? What personal strengths did the hero possess? What choices did he or she have to make? How did other people support the hero? What did the hero learn? And how do we use the same personal strengths when we overcome obstacles in our own lives? Can you share some examples? This can be done, obviously, in English literature, panitikan. This can be done even in discussion of um, history, social studies, characters, and historical figures. And then this can also be done like the strategy I taught you 2 days ago, introduce appropriate role models to the students, mathematicians in the case of math subjects, scientists in the case of science subjects, um, asking about what challenges did Thomas Edison have to overcome, and how did he overcome the failures, more than 1,000 failures in trying to discover the light bulb. So whatever subject we're teaching, we can try to bring in the this kind of discussions, make them discuss, make them talk about these things, and then make the um, personal, how do you call that, strengths come out in their discussion. Number two is encourage reflection through personal essays. So the first one is reading materials that you will give them. Second is that they themselves will write. That's why the journal writing is something that any subject teacher should actually try to get the students to do. Even just a simple thing of what are the most important things you learned this week in the subject, whatever subject you're handling. That makes them reflect, that makes them, and then how are you doing in the subject? And how are you trying to overcome the difficulties that you are encountering, whether it is in memorization or getting materials or finding time to finish all the readings, whatever it is, making them reflect helps a lot in developing character. So, write about a person who supported you during a particularly stressful or traumatic time. How did they help you overcome this challenge? Now, and writing exercise like this may not be easy to insert in just any subject. No, this is very easy to do if you're. Um, this is a topic that you give them for essay writing in English, but the problem now is how can I put it in my chemistry class, in my biology class? Okay, then that's where the journal writing can just be about how they are doing inside the classroom, not necessarily about the subject matter. What did you learn about yourself when you encountered that difficulty? Write about a friend that you supported as he or she went through a stressful event. What did you do that most helped your friend? The class advisor, of course, is in a position to make the students do this regardless of what time of the year, regardless of these are advisory activities that can be done. No? What did you learn about yourself? Write about the time in your life when you had to cope with a difficult situation. What helped and hindered you as you overcame this challenge? What learning did you take away that will help you in the future? So, all these reflections are very useful, are very formative. Number three, okay, this is very important. I somehow touched on it already earlier. Help children and parents too learn from student failures. In fact, there is this fantastic article which I hope you can share with the parents, that there is nothing wrong with failing. I mean, failing is not a tragic end. Why parents need to let their children, in fact, experience failure. Now, some students really are high achievers. They will never get a grade of F, okay? But if he does, if she one day does, then the parents should know that it's not the end of the world. Please don't go running to the school looking for the teacher, asking for an explanation. Why did my kid fail? Why don't you ask your kid? Don't ask the teacher. I mean, that's how things are now, no? When the student is failing, you have parents who run to the school and ask for an explanation. Like as if the teacher is the one at fault. Why did my kid fail? She is always a high achiever. Why did suddenly she fail? Uh, well, first is to make the parent realize, don't you know, this may be the best lesson, the best and most important lesson your child needs to learn now. That in life there will be sometimes failures, and how he or she is able to cope from this failure may be the most important wisdom that he or she badly needs to learn or acquire. So we need to let the parents know that failure is not an evil thing by itself. So then, how do we make sure we do that? Create a classroom culture where failure, setbacks, and disappointment are unexpected and honored part of learning. It's not a tragic thing by itself. Establish and reinforce an atmosphere where students are praised for their hard work, perseverance, and grit, not just for grades and easy successes. You know, where I studied high school, during that time, there never was announcements of first honor, second honor, third honor. None. In fact, during my time, there was no such thing as valedictorian. Valedictorian is valedictory address delivered by the best speaker, who is valedictoring, saying goodbye in behalf of the batch. And the one who delivered the valedictory address was not the number one in academics, because what the school wanted to highlight was their hard work, perseverance, grit, effort, not just grades and easy successes. And then hold students accountable for producing their own work, efforts from which they feel ownership and internal reward. So, this is the kind of culture that we should be able to create among our class. While it talks about classroom, well, even in an online class, the teacher is responsible for creating a culture, a way of thinking, a way of developing mindset among the students entrusted to his care. I like that expression. Students entrusted to your care. You see, teachers, you are not just given a subject to teach. You are entrusted with young people to take care of. I like better that expression. Educate and assure parents that supporting kids through failure builds resilience, one of the best developmental outcomes that they can give their children. And then they will be ready for life, not just to pass a test, not just to pass a subject, but the test of life. They're ready for life, which will throw a lot of problems, challenges, even failures along their way. Okay, so these are some of the things that we teachers can do in order to develop resilience among our students, creating a culture of bouncing back, being able to recover right away from a failure, from a difficulty. Number four, bring discussions about human resilience into the classroom. I mentioned this already when I said introduce the young people to appropriate role models, scientists, mathematicians, historical figures, literary characters who display human resilience. Use them in the discussion and highlight how they became successful in spite of the challenges, in spite of the difficulties, in spite of the failures, even. Whatever subject we're teaching, if we deliberately, consciously, systematically look for ways of bringing out these things in the discussion, we can find them. They're there. whatever subject we are handling. And then build supportive relationships with students. For education to be effective, it has to be personal. We're not dealing with class numbers. We're dealing with human beings, thinking, feeling human beings whose deepest desire is to be given importance, to be dealt with importance. Okay, let's go to the last. I'm down to my last 15 minutes, and it's empathy, in fact, that has a lot of strategies. But this is just the one of the chapters of Dr. Michelle Borba's Building Moral Intelligence. Empathy is in a crisis. Empathy is in crisis among the young people, among the digital natives, among the kids who are technocentric, because they have a harder time to identify with and feel for other people's concerns. Why? Because, well, in the pandemic, literally, they spend less time interacting with other people, which is the best way to learn empathy, which is the best way to foster empathy, dealings, relationships. But if they are deprived of this, either consciously or unconsciously, deliberately or not, I said deliberately because, as I said, if you give a kid a choice whether to play computer games the whole day, his favorite computer games, or go out there and play football and soccer and basketball. More kids, I think, unfortunately, may be more attracted to playing Mobile Legends the whole day, sinauna, Counter Strike, Clash of Clans, Clash of Kings. I mean, there are just too many choices. And I hope the parents choose wisely the games they allow their kids to play. One of the most popular games among kids is GTA, Grand Theft Auto. And it is very unfortunate because it's a kind of game where the more you hurt and kill people, the more points you get, the higher level you go. Even senseless hurting and harming, even innocent bystanders in the game. So, what kind of game is that? I mean, um, and he can be spending a lot of time, a lot of hours there. And so empathy is affected. Crisis, the empathy is in crisis. When can you say that a person has empathy? Well, here are the signs. When he is able to say this, you look upset. He's able to read body language of people. He's able to read emotions of others. That's empathy. I understand how you feel. If a person is able to say this, that's a person with empathy. I'm sad that you got hurt. You see, being able to share the hurt of another person, that's empathy. Or for them to be able to say, that happened to me once too. It makes me feel sad for you. That's empathy. My heart is racing. I feel like I want to. Sharing the joy of another person, that's empathy. I'm happy for you. If they're able to say that, that's they have empathy. Or I bet it hurts a lot. It happened to me. People with empathy do this. They notice when people are hurting and they feel for them. They tear up, naiiyak when they see someone crying. They walk up to console others in pain. They comfort another because they understand the person's hurt. They feel excited for others when they win. They wins when they see the hero getting hurt at the movies. They talk soothingly to those in pain. That's a person with empathy. They mirror the facial expressions of the distressed person. Those are all what we call a person with empathy. Here are 3 steps to develop empathy, and we're going to go over them one by one. Under each one, there may be some strategies I can share with you. Number 1, we have to foster awareness and build an emotional vocabulary. Okay, that's the step 1 to building empathy in the kids. Foster awareness and build an emotional vocabulary. For example, you look at this, it's just page 1 of a list of emotions. Let's zoom in and look at that. They are all emotions. The more the person knows of these emotions, the better chance you have that he will be empathetic, or that he will have empathy. I mean, does he can he detect if a person he's dealing with is confused, content, critical, cross, depressed, delighted, disappointed? Let's look at the other half. Bewildered, bitter, bored, brave, eager, edgy, embarrassed, encouraged, enraged, enthused. The more he knows of these words, the better chance you have that he is going to develop empathy. So, build his vocabulary of emotions. Make sure he knows that these are all possible feelings that others may have, and he will therefore need to know how to get along, how to console if that's what the person needs, how to, okay, page 2 of that vocabulary list. Let's zoom in. Irate, irked, irritated, panicky, patient, pessimistic, pleased, proud, terrific, tired. So the lower half, I mean the middle part, rejected, reluctant, resentful, restless. So many. And finally, the last part. You see, even just teaching them these vocabulary words and teaching him or her how to read these feelings in other people, you're on your way to developing him to become a real person with empathy. That's why um, later I'm going to share with you some strategies to build this vocabulary. Step 2, aside from knowing those feelings, the rich, developing in him the rich vocabulary of emotions, let's enhance sensitivity of his feelings towards others. 6 simple ways to nurture the sensitivity of kids. Praise sensitive, kind actions. This is part of the 10 tips of Michelle Borba, reinforcing moral behavior. Praising sensitive, kind actions, not the kid, but the action. Joanna, I saw you lending a ball pen to Joey. Good job. That's what it means to be concerned and to be kind. Keep it up. You're praising that action that Joanna did. No? Show the effect of sensitivity. You see, that's why you're feeling like that, because the others are sensitive to what you're feeling. That's why they didn't call you names. They stopped laughing. You see what it means. You see the effect when you are sensitive. You become more empathetic. You tend to feel more for the others, and then draw attention to nonverbal feeling cues. Make the students realize that some things can be detected. Some feelings can be detected even just with the nonverbal actions, even just with the movement of the face, the frowning of the face. The person is already upset. Stop teasing. Stop laughing. Uh, when you are able to read nonverbal cues, they become more sensitive, and therefore develop empathy. Ask often, how does he feel? How do you think he feels? Now that you made fun of him, you teased him, how do you think he feels? And that will make them more conscious about the feelings of other people. And then make them realize that every feeling comes with a need. The person is excited. He wants to share it. That's the need. He needs to share. The person looks sad. He needs to be consoled. He needs to be understood. He needs accompaniment. He needs somebody to accompany him, to encourage him. Every feeling of a person normally comes with a need. And an empathetic person, a person with empathy, will always look for these. He must be feeling this way. I should help provide the need that he has, and then share why you feel the way you do. So this is again part of modeling, role modeling, and that we ourselves, no? We have our own feelings that we share with our students, and then they learn. So that's what empathy is. That's how to be empathetic. 5 fun ways to help kids read nonverbal emotions. Play feeling charades. You know the vocabulary list I showed you, the game charade, where one person will act out. He cannot say a word, he cannot utter any sound, but just by action he has to make the people guess what is the word, or in this case, what is the feeling that he is showing. That will make them more sensitive to the cues of what it means to be excited, to be happy, to be sad, to be frustrated, etc. Number two, make comic mood characters. This can be done as an assignment even now in the online setup, where they will either cut out or get pictures, from screenshots, for example, of cartoon characters in whatever cartoons that they can find, that display different moods, different feelings. um, this is a cartoon character who is frustrated. This is the face. Who is happy? This is the face. Who is excited? This is the face. That's making comic book characters. Read with feelings, especially kids, lower grade kids. They get a kick out of this. And this can also be done for older students. Read Jack and the Beanstalk according to this mood: excited. Read Jack and the Beanstalk. First paragraph, excitedly. Then the second paragraph, frustratingly. How will it sound if the person reading wants to evoke frustration, wants to evoke sadness, wants to evoke, etc.? Reading with feeling. Watch silent TV. Make them watch a video. Turn off the sound. Turn off the sound, and then make them guess. Okay, what do you think is that character now feeling? You see, the veins are coming out of his neck. That must be anger, frustration, hatred, real, violent. Okay, so watching silent TV and then discussing the emotions being displayed, the feelings being evoked in the different scenes. Hold a feeling lookout. This is done inside the classroom. You get the students to go to the windows and then make them watch. Okay, that man in brown walking along the street. Well, can you detect? Can you try to guess how he must be feeling? Does he look like he is excited because he looks like he just got a job? He just got accepted in the job interview, or does he look like he didn't get it? That's why. So, holding a feeling lookout, trying to read body language of people as they walk, as they pass, as they show whatever emotions. So we are step 3 now. Develop empathy for another person's point of view. Okay, this is third step in developing empathy among the kids. Well, we are running out of time. Let's just end with these 3 simple ways to increase children's ability to take different perspectives, which is one of the secrets or keys to developing empathy. Taking a different perspective, seeing things from another person's point of view. So, just 3 ways. You can do this in your class, in a debate. After they debate, you say, okay, now let's spend 5 minutes. Take the debate like as if you are taking the stand of the other side. Switch roles to feel the other side. Walk in my shoes. And I know some teachers who would do this. Okay, during reporting, don't just say Jose Rizal did this, Jose Rizal did that. Come as Jose Rizal on that day and deliver your presentation. Make us understand how things were during your time, the need to rise up against the Spaniards, against the abuses. The so walk in my shoes, take that perspective, role play even that person's the person that you are going to report about, and then imagining how the person feels. So these are um, just some ways by which we can develop empathy. Okay, well, we've really run out of time because anyway, there are just the closing things I need to talk about, and then we're done here. So, my dear teachers, fellow educators, character, grit, resilience, empathy are three very essential virtues that this digital generation need very badly to develop. But more importantly is that we want the young people today, in spite of whatever descriptions we gave of them already, that they can still grow up to be good, not just smart, but especially good. And that's what we want to do in this whole week seminar: how to develop the character of the young people, how to foster character building in our classroom, in the Zoom, Google, Microsoft classrooms, because character, that's the secret to surviving our future. Our future depends on this. After all, it's the young people who are going to create the society we are looking forward to. That's why the kids inside your classroom today, they are the next generation. They're the ones who are going to determine how things are going to be 10, 20 years from now. Okay? Again, like what I always did the past 2 days, if you need your certificate ASAP, please send an email to I want my certificate at gmail.com. Don't forget to write the complete name you want to appear in the certificate. And then don't forget to write the title, because we this was already the third of 7 seminars. For easier reference, right away we will know what certificate you're asking for. Write the title there of of the seminar, and then the complete name with the middle initial that you want to appear. Somebody emailed, how come I have not received my certificate yet? I want to answer, because you have not asked for it. Don't assume that because during the registration we ask for your full name, etc., that automatically you will get your certificate. For now, we are distributing as people ask for it, especially because some coordinators submitted names that were not complete. Okay, so please do send us an email. And I know all who sent an email already received their certificates. 260 of them in my email box. We immediately sent them the certificate that they're asking for. At this point, kindly please refrain from asking for 7 of you. One email, one name. Kindly ask the others to send their own request so that we don't double. Because it happened, no? Somebody asked for 7, but 2 of them already also asked directly. So please don't double our work. And then please do join us in the Facebook page, facebook.com/groups/, better teachers. That is where you can download this PowerPoint presentation in a few minutes. I have not uploaded it yet. It's only March 24 and 25 that are uploaded there. Tomorrow we continue on with the best-selling seminar we have, the most appreciated actually, the Better Classroom Management, how you can get your students to do what you want them to do without ever having to resort to shouting, screaming, and yelling. Okay, and there are strategies, fantastic strategies from Harry Wong, Hal Urban, Rafe Esquith, Ron Clark, as well as the years 34 years I've spent inside the classroom. I'm seeing so many thank you messages. You're welcome, and thank you very much for joining us these past days. Now we come to the pictorials, okay? And I need to see your biggest, widest, fakest smiles. So kindly please, if you can, turn on your screen, your video, so that you can appear in the picture. Okay, page 1 of 9. You don't know if it's you who are appearing, so you just have to smile 9 times. Second screen, 3, 2, and 1. Page 3. Sorry, I wish there's a better way of doing this, but anyway, 3, 2, and smile. Great. 3, 2, and smile. um Page 5. Smile. 3, 2, and 1. Page 6. Smile. 3, 2, and 1. Hello, hello. Nice seeing you all. Smile. Page 3, 2, and 1. Second to the last page. We're in page 8. Smile. 3, 2, and 1. And finally, whew, page 9. Smile. 3, 2, and 1. Great. Okay. Well, that ends our session today. Um, yes. Right. Some of you want to receive your certificates in one go, in one bundle. Thank you, because that means we don't have to hurriedly give you the email. I'm trying to reply right away as soon as an email comes in asking for a certificate and pass it on to you to get it out of the way. But if you do not receive your certificates by next week, please send us an email. Don't complain. No need to complain. Just say, I want my certificate. These are the titles that I attended, and we will give it to you immediately. Okay? Like what we have been doing the past days, diba? Before you even wake up in the morning, it's already there in your inbox if you emailed us yesterday. Thank you very much to all of you. I really appreciate all your hard work as teachers. And thank you for the very kind words. I received a number of emails thanking me. Well, we have to spread the word and get all the teachers thinking the same way. We are not just going to teach a subject, we're going to raise kids who are going to be good. We're going to form their character, mold their minds, and raise them up to be smart and good, not just smart. Okay? And that's the reason why you've been with us in these seminars. So thank you again very much. We will end this meeting in
Thank you.
count of, you're welcome. In a count of
Thank you,
5,
Mr. Lentoy.
you're welcome. Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
sir.
4,
Thank you po.
3, the recording will be available in a few minutes in the Facebook page. 2, and the PowerPoint is also going to be there. God bless everyone. Please stay safe. See you again in our future seminars. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
man.
Sir, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you very much. Bye, Anthony Calado. Nice
Thank you,
to see you
sir.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
man. See
You're
you
welcome.
again.
See you
Monday.
again. Okay.
Yes. See you again.
Bye, everyone. I'll close the
Bye.
meeting now. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you also.